Signs of narcissism and toxicity are always important to know, but so are the failures, disappointments, and setbacks that narcs have to face. And I hope that this video will give survivors a reminder that a narcissist is not, in fact, on top of the world like they would love everyone to think. They're, in fact, being crushed underneath it all. This video is not meant to tease those who are suffering with narcissistic personality disorder. But seeing as how I have a seat at the survivors table, I find this video to be at the very least an equalizer and something to show that these people are not in fact powerful at all. Narcissist failure number 1. Inevitable isolation. This is a huge failure for every narcissist on the planet. Now don't misunderstand. People will be everywhere. Thousands on social media. The phone will always be abuzz, and they will almost always have a partner in some way, shape, or form, or 3. But in time, even if people physically stay, they are emotionally checking out and backing away from a narcissist. The spouse might not leave, but they're a shell of a person and nothing more than an extension of the narcissist. People will take calls from the narcissist less and less and answer less and less texts until there's just nothing left. Everyone eventually has enough poor treatment, and they realize how peaceful things are without the narcissist around. And so, again, isolation is inevitable. Divorces, breakups, the way they just cut people off who won't do what they want, the way they hurt people. This leads to family, friends, and even partners turning their backs on the narcissist. And you might have heard something that sounds quite like that. Something to the effect of, well, go ahead and leave, or go ahead and divorce me, go ahead and whatever. Everyone else leaves. Yeah, well, have they ever wondered why? Have they ever stopped to wonder why everyone leaves them? Probably not, because narcs aren't good with that whole self-reflection thing. Narcissist setback number 1. They are very poor conversationalists. Narcs are really good at 2 things: monologuing and taking your turn away to make the conversation go back to a monologue. Every narcissist revels in the time that they get to hear themselves talking. Listen closely and you'll realize that as much as they gab, very little is being said and nothing is being done. They just want the attention. If you're lucky enough to be asked how you are, you'll find that you might even get a whole 30 seconds survivor to share, and then poof, you will somehow find yourself right back onto the topic of talking about them, or chapter 3 of their self-narrated autobiography. Narcissistic failure number 2, a destroyed reputation. An important thing to keep in mind is, when it comes to this point, just because a narcissist makes an ass of themselves and they do in fact destroy their reputation, it does not mean that people are necessarily going to turn away from or turn their back on the narcissist. However, this also doesn't mean that a narcissist doesn't lose credibility. They absolutely do. Some people are just not incredibly vocal when they lose respect for a person. Personally, I'm not one to make a fuss or be very dramatic once someone shows me who they really are. I cut people off very quickly and quietly once I have seen that someone has showed the world their ass. Make no mistake, who they are is going to be shown, people see it, but people might not always react to it. People may still continue to communicate with them, but rest assured, credibility is lost, and they destroy their reputation. Narcissistic setback number 2. Superiority very poorly masks inferiority. It is not a secret that narcs have low self-esteem. Look at how they bully people. They try to keep low-hanging fruit under the mind control and skulk around like they own the place. These are all good signs that someone doesn't feel very good about themselves. But it's odd because, boy oh boy, they sure can act superior, can't they? And what's even weirder is, if you're around them long enough, you'll see a combination of both. They're superior when they need to scare you into submission, but inferior and pathetic when that is the angle that needs to be played. And this works really well for them, along with hiding away how they really feel and who they really are. And this is a huge setback. You are never going to know who this person really is. And you know what? They never really know who they are either. To speak with me one-on-one about your current situation with a narcissist, you can text the number on the screen. You can call that same number, press 1, and have that info sent right to your phone. You can email me directly, or you can visit my website. That information is all on the screen for you now and available down in the video description. Narcissistic failure number 3, an uninteresting personality. These people are boring, and I have said it for years. It is the same recycled garbage over and over and over once more until honestly it makes you sick. Even if there is something interesting about a narcissist, it's very quickly annoying, a complete lie, or you realize they're just mirroring you, hoping to gain an ounce of personality. I have never come across more boring, more uninteresting people unless we're talking about a narcissist. But when you're too busy in the gossip, in the drama, idle bullshit and chit-chat that doesn't get anyone anywhere, you are as shallow and useless as a kiddie pool full of holes. Narcissistic setback number 3, daunting negativity. To add insult to injury, along with their massive amounts of boredom they bring to the table, these people are depressing, whining, bitching, moaning, and complaining about how they don't get what they want. They deserve something different. They want someone else. They want this. They want that. Why shouldn't they have it? And just all this overall super negative bullshit. Narcs love to spread negative emotions and just be a general nuisance to others. This can help them control other people's emotions, keep people down and depressed. This is a setback for them because if they would just get their head out of their own ass and realize that everything isn't so awful, they might just enjoy life for a fraction of a second, but some people really only truly feel happy in misery. Gross and sad. Narcissistic failure number 4, addiction. It might not be drugs or alcohol. It might not be shopping, gambling, or porn. But a narcissist is, in fact, themselves an addict. They're addicted to people. Attention, supply, drama, they absolutely need this. Taking attention and supply away from a narcissist is like asking them to breathe underwater. It's impossible. Addiction is an absolute failure in life. People are slaves to their addiction. And if they tell you they aren't, that is called denial. This is narcissism. This is the disorder. They need what they need and they'll stop at nothing to get it. The answer is simple. The happiness they get from others, they could never find within themselves. And a narcissist doesn't want to do that anyway. The disorder will not allow them to get help. See, there's a funny, curious, yet sad thing about a disorder. It doesn't realize it's a disorder, and it doesn't realize that it has an issue. And even if it did, it doesn't care. A disorder will disorder. That's what it does. Narcissistic setback number 4, missing out. Narcs miss out on so much because they don't get out of their own way. Those who give up on their kids miss out on the pleasure of seeing them grow up. They miss out on things like real love, real friends, and real authentic experiences. Narcs also miss out on really big opportunities. Now, I've already talked about how isolated these people become. Some of the smallest things in life are often the most beautiful and the most rewarding. And this is lost to a narcissist, and I just find that a setback, and I find it really sad. Narcissist failure number 5. No job, no money, big trouble. This goes along with missing out, but narcs have issues with jobs and money. Lots of what I call low-functioning narcissists, those who I feel are deeper into the disorder and have a harder time with denial and delusion, have a hard time finding and keeping long-term work. Now, moving job to job is not necessarily a bad thing, but they do things like they don't give notice, they take a lot of time away, they just don't handle jobs or careers or anything with any real responsibility, as a narc is known to not do. No responsibility, no accountability. Now, this leads to financial troubles. A narc's sense of entitlement might even cause them to think, well, they don't have to work. They don't need money. It's your job to pay for me, or it's somebody else's job to pay for me, or I'll be allowed to slide on rent. They'll do this for me. I am who I am. A disregard for the rules, law, order, and taking anything serious can also cause them to be in big legal trouble. Narcs often feel above the rules, like the rules are made, but just for everybody but them, and it can lead to legal issues where a narc has to learn that they can't, in fact, do whatever they want. I mean, I guess they would maybe learn that if the system worked, which it doesn't always work, and even when it does, these are people who, again, are disordered and not prone to learning a lesson. The only thing they learn is how they need to get better at beating the system. Narcissistic setback number 5. Many multiple fears. Narcs are set back so far by the fact that they're just scared of so much. Rejection, being forgotten, being labeled unimportant, being dumped, being alone, commitment, fear of others, fear of themselves. If you're afraid of all these things and more, I mean, I didn't even mention that they're afraid of vulnerability, intimacy, love, and so on. When you're afraid of all these things, how is it possible to have an enriching life? It just isn't. It's impossible. Now, you know as well as I do that this is not every failure and setback that a narcissist experiences, but I don't have all day, and neither do you. So tell me one that didn't make my list down in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.